Dragon Ball Super episode 59 is now officially in the history books, and today guys we're going to go ahead and dive into the official dialogue to see what exactly was said between Zamasu, Gowasu, Beerus, Whis, Goku, and several other characters within the show. Please keep in mind this video will contain a massive amount of spoilers, so in case you guys have not seen the episode, go watch it and come back so we can talk more Dragon Ball Super. Some really awesome stuff that I picked up here today, guys. Now, as you guys can see on your screen, we started off with Zamasu saying, "Why are they here?" And then right off the bat, he seems to recognize the Supreme Kai by saying, well, if it isn't the Supreme Kai of the 7th universe, with the God of Destruction Beerus-sama and Whis-sama, and you, if I'm not mistaken, your son Goku. So obviously he's playing dumb here because he realized that something is up and they're actually there for a specific reason, but he doesn't understand why. And that's when he says, "Excuse me for the late greeting. The last time you came here was when you asked to wear the time ring by going around the whole universe, and at that time you were able to learn something." And that's when Gowasu tells him, "No, they actually came here to see you, Zamasu." Now that's pretty scary. Now I want you guys to put yourself in Zamasu's shoes, and you have a bunch of gods who came there to talk to you. You have to ask yourself why. So Beerus says, "Well, you see this idiot right here, he wants to fight you one more time no matter what." And everyone is trying to pretend on the fact that the reason why they came there was because Goku wanted to fight. Obviously playing dumb, you don't want to give off why you're really there. And he says, but he's the type not to listen to others. And that's when Goku says, "I don't recall saying anything," and that's when he gets thumped on the head by Beerus. And you guys can't deny the relationship these two have, because it's quite entertaining to see Beerus and Goku interact with one another. So Goku says, "Hold back a little, will you?" And that's when they say, "We don't want to disturb your tea time with this. I'll tell off this idiot myself." And that's when the Supreme Kai says, "Should we leave?" And then after they leave, they all get together, and it's quite funny because Goku was floating in space and they caught him. And that's when, you know, we said just as we suspected, and Beerus replied by saying, "There's no mistake, he's out to kill Gowasu." And that's when Goku says, "Are you sure, Beerus?" And that's when Whis replies by saying, "You can clearly smell his killing intent in his spirit. It's just like the fart of Beerus," which is kind of funny because all of these attendees, Beerus and Whis and Champa and Vadus, all the attendees always tend to shit on the God of Destructions. Like we saw how Vadus was making fun of Champa's weight, and we see how, you know, Whis always pokes fun of Beerus by saying that, you know, Zamasu's killing intent pretty much smells like Beerus's farts and it stinks. And that's when Beerus says, "How rude, my farts smell like no such thing." Obviously his farts are murder. And that's when Goku says, "I never felt something in his spirit though." And that's when Whis replies by saying, "Beerus-sama is the God of Destruction, so he's particularly sensitive when it comes to those matters. Of course I am too." So that strikes me as a little odd. So my question to you guys is, do you guys think that Whis and Beerus and the other gods of destructions and attendees have some sort of an ability to read spirits? Because this clearly right here just shows that we said Beerus-sama is the God of Destruction, so he's particularly sensitive when it comes to those matters, so they can pick up vibes very easy when it comes to certain situations. That's when Goku asked, did Gowasu also notice it? And the Supreme Kai said he probably didn't notice it. "After all, I also wasn't able to feel Zamasu's killing intent. I'll be sure to destroy him when he's about to kill the Supreme Kai," says Beerus. So he already knows, and he referred to Gowasu as the Supreme Kai, and he says after that, "But after all, we need to obtain some evidence." And that's when Goku says, "Evidence? I mean, if it's too late, if we wait for him to be killed, Beerus-sama." And that's when Whis says, "I understand what you're trying to say, Goku, but the enemy is the next Supreme Kai of the 10th universe, so we can't simply eliminate him just because we feel his killing intent." So that strikes me as very interesting, because he was supposed to be the next Supreme Kai, and this dude has such a warped philosophy. And that's when we pan over to Black and Zamasu in the future, and this is very interesting as well, because we see Black, he's there, and he says, "You're one step away from me taking your head." And that's when Zamasu tells Black, "We realize that they're not strong enough to be our enemies. Besides, if you kill Son Goku, you'll lose the fonder meant to improve your fighting capabilities." So he's pretty much telling him, if you kill Goku, you're not going to get any stronger because you're going to have no one left to fight. And that's when he says, "Slowly, carefully kill him and consume his bones up to the marrow until it runs out." So pretty grim stuff here, especially around the time for Halloween. So, you know, Zamasu has that intent on just completely, like, just massacring Goku. Like, we're talking about, like, just on a very gruesome level. So that's when he tells Black, "You too are the same as me." And isn't it nice to use the Dragon Balls to attain immortal bodies? So he says, "You two are the same as me." Obviously enough, they are one and the same, but who is Black? We'll find out next week. But even with that, he says immortal bodies are good, you know. And that's when Black powers up, and he replies by saying, "I'm satisfied with this power. With this supreme fighting capability, it's not enough that I just get an immortal body. I'll have to get more stronger. So this power with unlimited potential is necessary for our plan." So it seems like Zamasu wanted Black to become immortal, but Black is saying that he's satisfied with the power that he has now. And that's when, Zamasu replies by saying the Zero Humanity Plan. What an irony, needing the power of a human to achieve the Zero Humanity Plan. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and break that down to you. Now, the reason why he says the irony in needing the power of a human to achieve the Zero Humanity Plan, what he means by that is obviously Black has Goku's powers. He transferred whatever was left of Goku in this vessel, so they needed Goku's powers, obviously enough, transferred to Black in order to achieve the Zero Humanity Plan. So the irony here is that they pretty much copied and replicated one of the strongest fighters in the universe, and they needed his power in order to achieve this. So we pan back to Trunks and Little Trunks, and this was kind of entertaining. I mean, I'm pretty sure a lot of us wanted to see this go down, but at the same time, we all already knew that if this actually happened, future Trunks would massacre Little Trunks. So Little Trunks says, hey, me, just because you lost once, you're moping, and you're supposed to be me? Ha, I'm sorry, but could you leave me alone? And because future Trunks wants to be left alone, he's thinking about his mom. I mean, Little Trunks doesn't understand that, and that's when Little Trunks says, I'm so disappointed the future me is this cowardly, because you're like that, you can't even protect my. And Trunks started to get a little ticked off here, and that's when Little Trunks was like, are you mad? After all, this is the truth, right? I mean, what now? Are you frustrated? Then come at me, try to beat me. And Little Trunks began to power up, and he said, I'll be your opponent. And I mean, you have to give him respect for this, because even at such a puny age and a puny power level compared to future Trunks, he actually made a move and he knocked future Trunks down, and he said, if you're not coming at me, then I'll attack you first. And after he punched Trunks in the face, he said, what's the matter? Stan, are you supposed to be a Saiyan? And he's mocking him, and we already knew that if this actually went down, future Trunks would have beat the ever-holy ghost out of Little Trunks. But you have to give Little Trunks respect for, number one, trying to redeem his future self and trying to get him back into the zone, because he's trying to tell him, like, all right, you lost once, so what? Pick yourself back up and get back into the fight. So also we see how Zamasu tried to kill Gowasu, and this was the best part. Every single person loved this, and that was after he failed to kill Gowasu, he backed up and bumped right into Beerus, and Beerus says, well, that was unfortunate. And that's when Zamasu was like, Beerus-sama, when did you arrive here? With Gowasu replying by saying, oh, didn't you all go back already? And that's when Whis replied by saying, we shortly remembered some errand here. And that's when Beerus said, you were nearly about to kill Zamasu just now. And that's when Gowasu was like, Zamasu just tried to kill me? And that's when Whis says, without my glove that covered his hand, you're certainly headed to the afterlife right now. And everyone was shocked, and that's when Gowasu was like, Zamasu, explain, what is this all about? And that's when the Supreme Kai says Zamasu's objective was to kill Gowasu-san and take his time ring. If Gowasu-sama is gone, no one will be able to hinder Zamasu's plans after all. And that's when they ask, what plans? And that's when the Supreme Kai says that is to use the power of the Super Dragon Balls to obtain immortality, create a fake Goku, and eradicate humanity. So he's been exposed. And that's when, Gowasu asks Zamasu, didn't you come from Kaioshin? And that's when Zamasu begins to get very cocky, and he says, Kaioshin, who are you talking about? I'm only acting on God's justice, the justice of wiping out evil. So again, his mentality is warped, we already know this. And that's when, he says, still, I'm surprised you knew my plans just from knowing that I'm going to kill Gowasu. That's when Goku opens up his mouth and he says, we went to the future and we saw everything after all, because you and your allies, the city was torn and a lot of people lost their lives. And Zamasu replied by saying, I see, so my dream was fulfilled. Then that means I can't fall in a place like this. And obviously enough, our favorite part was when Zamasu tried to attack Goku. Beerus grabbed his hand and he said, don't get cocky, destroy. And he sent Zamasu's ass into the Shadow Realm. That was it. He destroyed himself. It was so fitting, because we all want to see this variation of Beerus in the show. Like the video if you guys agree, because Beerus ought to be showcasing more of this than just him eating and sleeping around. And that's when Beerus says, with this, Black is now gone, the future is back to normal, with Trunks replying by saying, when I defeated the androids, my future didn't change at all, with Beerus replying by saying, don't worry, it's just about humans, because obviously enough, androids were kind of humanoid. And he says, if a god eliminated another god, there is no way that the space-time will remain as it is. And that's when we pan over to the preview, and Goku says, Trunks, let's go one more time into the future and see if it really changed. If Zamasu appears this time for sure, I'll beat him down. Wait, what's this? Isn't Black Goku my fake? So that right there just indicates that we will finally get to see the big reveal as to who this guy is. Can you imagine if it was Captain Ginyu? All jokes aside though, this was a very satisfying episode. I want to know down below, what are your thoughts on Beerus and Whis having to register and understand and see through people's spirits and intentions? intentions, because it strikes me as odd that this whole entire time, you know, we didn't really learn anything of this about these two. And of course, we're already almost 60 episodes in, and we're finally getting to understand that Whis and Beerus are able to pretty much connect with spirits and see how one's intentions are, because obviously enough, we said that Beerus is able to be sensitive when it comes to those things, and himself as well. But that still doesn't explain what Beerus told Trunks. He said if a god eliminates another god, the space-time rift will be just cleared up. And of course, we see Zamasu still in the future, so what does that mean? How is he still alive in the future if he was wiped out in the past, assumably if you're in the future, in the present? So present timeline Zamasu is gone, so how is future's timeline Zamasu even there? And of course, we're gonna learn as to who Black is. Again, this was definitely a build-up going into next week's episode with Vegeta finally having to step in one more time against Black. I told you guys in my prediction video that I don't think Vegeta is gonna, you know, Hail Mary at this time. I don't think that he's gonna completely do anything drastic, because I do think that more or less he's gonna get beat down again, but he's gonna make a huge comeback after, during episode probably 62, 63. But let me know your overall thoughts on the official dialogue, guys. What are your thoughts on the episode, and what are your expectations going into Dragon Ball Super episode 60? And do you guys think that this is the end of the finish line here? Like, we're finally approaching the end of the arc. It kind of sucks because this entire summer we've been wrapped around this whole like Black Goku thing, Zamasu, and like just Kai is getting involved, and Gods of Destructions and all sorts of, you know, crazy stuff. So what are your overall thoughts on the arc finally coming to an end? Leave your thoughts down below, guys. Thank you all for watching. Once again, if you guys are new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe for more daily content. If you guys enjoyed the video, don't forget to punch that like button square in the face, guys. Leave your thoughts down below. Tune in for more, and I'll be seeing you all down in the comment section below as we all talk Dragon Ball Super, argue, and everything else in between. Take it easy, guys. Peace.